This podcast contains explicit content and is meant for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect the views of VKH Press as a whole. Thanks for listening. This is VKH Breakdown. To VKH Breakdown. Finally got everybody together. Yay! I am your host, Jeff DeWitt. With me, as always, is site owner Winona Peace.
Hello.
And writer, reviewer, and sorcerer, James O'Brien.
Hi, I'm here too.
Awesome. How are we all doing tonight?
I'm hanging in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Body feels dead.
I'll be sore too. I can be sore also.
Yeah. Just do some push-ups real quick. All right. So we've got some shit to talk about this episode. So we've got. I went on a journey to A-Kon in Texas, and saw a lot of cool stuff. Had a lot of fun times. We're gonna get into that, but first I wanted to thank Pentagon Japan for providing the intro and outro. So the intro you just heard was Toon World. That's off their third album that just came out called Wanderlust. Make sure you check them out. You can buy the album on CD Japan, and you can check out their official website, which is pentagon-official.com. And also we have a email address now, so you can email us questions or feedback or hate mail if you want. At VKH.
We welcome all hate mail.
Yeah. So it's vkhbreakdown@gmail.com. And we also have a Facebook page. So you can like us on Facebook. Just search VKH Breakdown. And yeah. So before we get into all the cool topics and stuff, let's see what everyone's listening to. So James, what have you been listening to?
So I've been on like a huge old Bucktick kick. I've been like listening to Bucktick every day for like the past week, and I'm not sure what precipitated that, but that's been where I've at. And then I've also been like listening to just like, I don't know, like some stuff that's probably like 5 years old, Administrator's album before they broke up. But yeah, just weird selection as always. And then I listened to Pentagon's new album recently.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Who's Administrators?
So the vocalist of Administrator is the vocalist of Chanty now. But I don't know if any of the other members really resurfaced. Like they'd been signed.
Aren't they disbanded?
Yeah, I mean, Administrator disbanded like 5 years ago. But yeah, I'm trying to think like what label. I want to say they were actually signed to Danger Crew, and then they broke up. But they had a few singles, and then their first album, which was their only album, was like really good. It was like a really interesting mixture of like Oshare and like more hard hitting. But yeah, it was a shame. And like kind of like the vocalist of Ambergris, just like how his new project for me hasn't lived up to Ambergris. I feel that way about Shanty in like regards to Administrator.
Oh, okay.
So,
What's the new project for the Ambergris vocalist?
I want to say it's called Sue, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
I can't remember if anybody else of note is in it, but I just, for some reason, it's odd because you'd think the one thing that would be the most consistent would be the vocalist, and because he's the element of continuity. But I feel the melodies and everything are really similar in the new stuff by Sue, but the vocals don't come out in the same way. And I feel the exact same way about Shanty in regards to Administrator. Like Administrator, like his vocals were so soaring and it was great and everything. And then Shanty, I just feel it's so much more of a limited range and the mixing's just not there. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're aiming for anime stardom. Shanty
is?
Yeah. Well, Shanti, apparently. It's pronounced Shanti, apparently, but yeah, they're reaching for anime stardom.
I think that pronunciation's in dispute, actually, because I heard Tomo referred to them as Chanty.
I heard Rob say Shanti, and we were just like, what do we do? But
yeah.
Well, what's confusing to me is if I were to write it out on katakana, I'd do Shanty, but whatever.
Quick public service announcement while we're on this topic. The band whose name reads like Kra is pronounced Kara. I learned that while on my journeys to A-Kon.
Yeah.
So for any listeners out there that don't get to hear a ton of band pronunciations, Kra is actually Kara.
Part of Jeff's leveled up in his magical quest.
I've leveled up. Div is dive. Kra is Kara. What else I got?
Yeah.
And Gothic Prince Ken is spelled with a Q-E.
Yeah, it's spelled like Gothic. Yes.
I'm still upset about Kara. Like, that ruined, like, such a fine meme.
Oh, like, yeah. You want to talk about your great Kara or Kra, quote unquote, meme?
There was an old meme from back when I was consistently doing the video countdown, and it was of like this really ugly butt fish, and it was just like, what's like a visual K artist's favorite seafood? And then it was like crawfish, and it was like it was pretty good, and I kept making the joke and nobody ever took the bait in the countdown. I mean, maybe like I was the only one that didn't get that it was Karen. Everybody else was like too ashamed to tell me, or I don't know.
I had huge respect.
Everyone was like, we don't want to ruin James's fun.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
I had huge respect for how hard you would commit to jokes like on your countdowns. Because when Medjugorje had the Shue single, like for 3 months after that, you were like, more like Shue, hey, what's up with this song, huh, guys? Or something like that.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Like it was that, and then like.
But you were like, you would list it, like say it sometimes when it would come up on the countdown and be like, I'm committed to the Shue jokes.
Yeah, no, I know, I remember this. Yes.
Oh, that was my favorite.
It was like when Born had Spiral Lie come out.
Oh, you were like, don't tell me it's a spiral lie.
Yeah, well, it was like, I had like one original one at the beginning, and then after that, it was just like, this reminds me of like a spiral blank. It was like Spiral Ham, Spiral Staircase, Spiral something, and it just kept going on. And then like Blasted Animals, I remember I kept repeating, like, it reminds me of this one time. It was something about like animals stepping on landmines, or I don't, but it was just like kept repeating. And but yeah,
it's so corny, but
I
it
almost
makes me
feel
laugh
surprised
so
that you like. Did you ever use the Garugamesh meme, the one from when they went to SakuraCon, and then they show like, what's gonna be at SakuraCon, and then they like show all these different people saying stuff, and then they cut to the one like air quote visual K fan. He's like, Garugamesh, like, did you ever use that in a video? I feel like you never did, and that was such a great meme.
That was too easy for James. James is an artist. He's our VKH memester mind, you know.
Oh yeah, I go for far more low hanging fruit, Winona.
He's our meme generator. He's our personal visual K.
We should give you that second title, is memester mind.
Yeah, that's how I should.
Memester mind.
Yeah.
DJ name, memester mind.
I should get like the Alice 9 meme I have as like a T-shirt for us, but a really cheap T-shirt, like with one of those gigantic like tags in the back and like really cheap hat.
Dude, gotta start rooting for Rada 2020 because you made the Rada 2012. You were like the children for the future. I'm like, this is brilliant. Why isn't it for 2020?
Well, it's like the worst Photoshop job ever. I'm sure I did it in paint.
It was beautiful.
It's just like,
it was beautiful. We've got Kanye, we've got we got Hanks and Johnson, Tom Hanks and Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and now Rada.
So we got 4 years. I can count. We got 3 years to naturalize Rada as a U.S. citizen, get him registered with the party.
We can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
He can't just be naturalized. In order for him to be president, he'd have to be like born here. So we're gonna have to like fake his birth certificate.
Oh, okay.
We have to teach him perfect English. It's okay. He already uses muscle milk. We're like partway there.
It's okay. All the Republicans are thrown off the scent now that Obama's out of office. They're not interested in like searching for birth certificates and stuff like that. We can sneak it in.
Nobody will think lightning could strike twice.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Getting back on track. Winona, what have you been listening to?
That's a wonderful question. I have actual answers to this one.
Oh,
I've been listening to two pretty obscure artists, but they're coming to Europe. One is Sin, and the other one is The Sixth Lie. And then there's actually more artists I've been listening to that are newer and also coming to Europe, which is Shin. So Shin and Sin, even though they pronounce themselves as Shin, when I hear them saying it, Sin is spelled with an exclamation point, and Shin is spelled like Shin. But Shin was the ex-Vivid vocalist, and he only has one single out right now. It's available on Apple Music and stuff, and it's Jack the Ripper.
So
and then he has a new
like
album.
When Hyde first formed Vamps, they're just going to play Hyde stuff.
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be like when Hyde decided I'm gonna go solo, and then he's writing his own stuff, and people are like, "This is great, I love you, but I want you to do more stuff with Lark and CL." Except Vivid's not an option, so it's Hyde without Lark and CL. Because Hyde with Vamps, everyone's like, "I want you to sound more like Lark and CL," and we're just like, "Dude, that's the opposite of the point of Vamps." But
yeah, it's literally to protect it almost seems like it's to protect the integrity of Lark and CL. So
I mean,
it is.
Like
CL is literally rainbows.
They're literally
rainbows.
Oh yeah, literally
rainbows.
I don't know.
They're literally rainbows, and Vamps is literally the dark side of Lark and CL.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like I'm about to go bulldozing over sacred cows here, but the older I get, like the less I really feel like, wow, like Lark and CL. Like, maybe that's
it's not just you. I guarantee there are other people out there who feel like that, but at the same time, it's because Lark and CL's so big.
Well, like the older I get, the more I like have an appreciation for like Lunacy and like Kuro Yume, but like Lark and CL, like I don't know. Like I really like, my favorite member of Lark and CL is like definitely Yukihiro. Like he's like a cool cucumber.
He doesn't have he's like the only one in the band who doesn't have a solo project, right?
What? No, he has Acid Android.
Right, okay, yeah, Acid Android. But I mean, like...
But then he's also in a shoegaze band that,
true.
like, everybody forgets about.
No, I meant he was, like, solo, like, on his own, but, yeah.
Well, wasn't well, yeah, I mean, I guess Acid Android isn't technically solo, but,
Yeah,
I've listened to, like...
It's a solo... You go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I've listened to like so little Larkin CL. I feel embarrassed and obligated, but also like I'm like really picky about the light music that I listen to. So I'm such a fucking adrenaline junkie, you know, always needing like something crazy and heavy that it's like it takes something. Yeah. It takes something really amazing to like make me slow down and like experience and enjoy it. Like,
but like the only Larkin CL album that I like have listened to and felt like, wow, this is an album was like their first one, Dune. Like Dune, like it starts out with Shutting from the Sky, and it's like this awesome intro with like Ken's guitar, and it's so cool. But and like the album has like a flow to it, but like if you listen to, I think one of the albums was Smile. That's one of their more recent ones. It's just like, it just feels like, you know, any standard pop album where you just have like a bunch of like singles strung together. You know, it feels like you give it.
At that point, Larkin CL was basically starting to have issues with the recording on like time, like getting everybody to, because everyone was going solo.
yeah.
Right,
So everybody has their own schedules.
But even if you were to go back to something like Heaven's Ark or whatever, like it's like the albums would become like these things where there were like these, you know, kind of like a piece of jewelry or something where there's like, you can only afford like so many diamonds. And so the rest of it's kind of like, yeah. But, you know, it's that way with songs. Like you get to like a really good song, but then like, it takes like another 3. I don't know.
Yeah, I have 2 comments though. It's back on the Acid Android. And shit, there's a moth in my room. It was back on Acid Android. And Jeff's comment on needing adrenaline in a song. Yeah. So one story from today is I was listening to Apple Music's Angry Workout playlist. It's so funny to me.
That's really specific.
It's just like 3 Days Grace.
No, it was Nirvana. It was Nirvana's In Bloom, and like okay, I could totally be down with like Marilyn Manson's like The Beautiful People cover, but that's not angry to me. And like The Hand That Feeds from 9 Inch Nails isn't angry to me. That's like that just like it's Apple. What is your idea of angry? What this is angry? But and on Acid Android, I had a comment where it was like, Acid Android is about as much of a solo as Moi Mo is a solo. Because Moi Mo is supposed to be Mana's solo project. We haven't viewed it as Mana's solo project.
Right.
Oh man, that's another one I've been pronouncing incorrectly. It's not.
Yeah, because it's French.
It's not Moi de Moi? Or...
No, I've looked at I've been pronouncing it based on the katakana, so it said moi de mo, so I was like, okay.
I feel like this podcast is just turning into a support group to help me like understand pronunciations of various Japanese artists. Like,
actually, let me go ahead and grab my CD over here of my many moi de mo albums because I have all of them.
Yes, special requests to like Japanese artists as they're putting out like new albums and stuff. And the intro, can you maybe artsily like sneak in your name so that we know, so it's like
just like have that in an intro soundtrack, SE
welcome
going in where
to Moi de Mo. It's like, oh, that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Watch me be wrong. I can't find any of the little, what's it called? The little cards that come on the edge of the CD. That's where I would read it off of, which is great.
The Obi?
Yeah, found them. Yeah, I found my Obi. I have a whole stack of Obi. Okay, looking at the one for Reprise right now. Oh, it's Moi de Moi. You're right. I'd been wrong for years. It's another thing I've been wrong.
Did I get one on you?
You got one on me. How have you been pronouncing hyena from the Gazette, though? Because I've been pronouncing it hyena since I was 11.
Oh, you had?
Yeah.
No. Rookie says hyena.
Dude, I never heard him say it. Okay, when I was 11, I didn't pay attention. I was like, okay, look, Japanese words must be hyena. It never clicked until like literally the other day when I looked at it. I was like, oh shit, that's a word.
It's okay. It took me until, and we've talked about this offline, but like it took me until the J Mello special where they had Doubt on for me to like understand that, one, it's pronounced doubt, and two, realize how stupid I was for mentally like reading it as D equals sign out like every time, or D equals out. Like it's like
I just read it as D out. I didn't even register the equal sign. D out.
Yeah.
I was a step away from doubt.
Yeah. D out. D out. Doubt.
Doubt. Doubt. Doubt.
So, all right.
Oh my god. But me continuing what I was listening to, because that's what we were on.
Yes.
And I've been listening to a lot. So, Sin! Exclamation point Sin. He only has one single, and it's Salvation, and it's got 3 songs on it. And what he's been doing so far, this single came out last year, mind you, in like June last year. And ever since, he's been like all on his YouTube putting up covers of other songs, and like putting up like, I think like live YouTube lives of him gaming or something. And like having like conversations with people who come up in the live chat like it's Twitch. But I was just like, okay, dude, but he's still putting up like covers. So I don't know where he's going with this, but there was one cover he did where it was Nonsense Bungaku by Eve. He did a cover of that, and I really loved it. So I'm like, and the way it really shows his vocal range a lot better than what he did with his music, because the way how he wrote his music, it doesn't, I personally don't feel like it shows what he can do quite yet, even though he's like kind of starting out on his own now. He just needs to find the way to show what he can do in full range. If he can find a way to do that in one song, that would be amazing. Because the singing style is really similar to Sono from Matin Opera, the way how he does his vibratos is what I noticed. And yeah, that was like one big thing. And then he's coming to Europe in like September under High Feel. And Shin from Vivid, he has one single, but now he's going to come out with an album. So he's doing music things and not video game things on YouTube. But his music is, it's his first single. It's what you would kind of expect from a first single, I want to say. I don't want to say he's playing it safe, but I want to say it hasn't really stuck out to me yet. Because if you like looked it up on Apple Music right now, and if you heard it, I think you would have about as much to say about it as I do right now. But it's good. It just hasn't stuck out to me yet. So there's 2 songs on, and they both sound the same to me right now. But yeah. And then what I've been listening to, The Sixth Fly is a really electronic rock band. They're not affiliated with Visual K, I don't think. They just happen to be touring with a lot of Visual K artists right now. And then I've been listening to a lot of old Malice Miser because nostalgia hits me in the feels. And just praying they come back somehow. just be like, hey Seth, wanna be part of Malice Miser 4th generation, and then it's a magical ride from there, but it's never gonna happen. It's been more than 10 years, right? We're getting up to 20 years, right? Yeah, it's not gonna happen. It's a pipe dream.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith.
All right. So I've been listening to a lot of things, but I just wanted to highlight like 3 quick ones that are actually just PV songs. Like, so I haven't necessarily been listening to the entire singles that they're from, but I have YouTube mixes that I listen to, throughout the day and stuff like that. And these 3 keep coming up, and they're just all very notable. So first, speaking of chanty, James, I'm actually going to go the opposite direction in terms of in terms of how we feel about chanty. So I've been listening to their 7th single, it's called Fukigen, which I believe translates to bad mood, unless Google Translate lied to me.
No, I'll take that.
And I've been listening to it like on repeat for like a month and a half. It is, and I have not been into chanty like very much. It's just not my style, but like you can kind of tell that like their music's like what they're going for is like, it's done well, but it's never quite been my style. And I think James, you're the same way as well.
Is that the one you showed me? And I was like, this sounds like the opening to My Hero Academia, and it also sounds like Porno Graffiti.
No, yeah. So what we decided on is it sounds like a lot like Bug Lug, but like done up super well, like really well. It's what it is that it's that punk like feel that Bug Lug has, and
the look too.
Yeah, and the look and the PV's great. Like it jumps from punk guitar riffs to like almost like a ska like rhythm and guitar playing in the verse, and then more punk, and then just like this soothing kind of chill, kind of like I'm Not Okay kind of chorus, and just like it's just so catchy. It's so not what I expected from them at all. And it's just got me hooked. And I'm completely for any band that wants to sound more like the punk style that we would associate with bands like Bug Lug, because I love Bug Lug. And I want more of that in there, and we'll talk about it later. But Pentagon Japan actually has a very huge punk streak that they've really let shine on their latest album as well. So I'm all for that because it makes the music so much like hit so much harder and seem more intricate, and so really cool stuff.
Yeah, I should note I was referring to probably Chanty's last album, so I don't know that I've heard Fukigen yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe this will win you over.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will.
The jury's out. We'll see. I'll send it to you and
Sure.
check back in.
Yeah, when I saw them at no, it wasn't A-Kon. What the fuck was I? Tokyo and Tulsa. When I saw them at Tokyo and Tulsa, I noticed that at the time they were kind of like going with a kind of trend. I don't know how to put it, but it's like because they're shooting for like anime stardom, they had like all white on, and they had like all white backgrounds on all of their band photos, and their music was super poppy. And I was like, this is like, it was like generic enough for everyone to like it, but they had their own style on it, so people could tell it was them. But it was still, I just could tell that everyone would like it regardless, because it was anime opening music that, like, that's what it all sounded like to me, just like anime opening worthy music with that one beat, like, you know, when they like splice together one anime opening and take like a different song that was meant for a different anime and put it on top of it, and it follows that beat exactly. Yeah, it followed, like, all their songs followed that one beat, and I was just like, wow, they got that down to a science. What else can they do? So now we know. Yeah.
So, good stuff. Check it out if you haven't heard it. It's on YouTube, guys. Next one is, I'll have to look up the name. It's in Japanese, but basically I've been checking out Dimlim, which is, God, holy hell, this band. Have you guys heard anything about this?
Yeah, I think I listened to some of their stuff already.
Yeah, so basically it's formed by Issei, the former drummer of DID, which is like a big head turner right there, and then the former guitarist of Deviloof, Ryuya, which is also another big head turner, and it is like, it's just this really savage, like, progressive, I guess it's what is it, like, it's like progressive avant-garde death metal or something. Like, it's kind of taking that formula that DID was going into at the time, that, like, it's like DID and Duran Grey were kind of playing in that same very avant-garde, like, atmospheric field, and they take it and they just run it straight into like metalcore, deathcore, progressive metal. And it's just like the PV that they've got on YouTube, like, it got like 100,000 views like in a matter of a couple weeks, I think. It's really intense. There's blood everywhere. But the vocalist, I don't know anything about the vocalist actually, so maybe I'll report back on that later. But vocalist is doing a great job. You know, just everything is it's just super intense, and then it's super atmospheric kind of at the same time. So I'm sure a lot of people will compare this band to like Duran Grey, but if you really know like your Visual K, you can definitely see it's like no. This is picking up in a lot of ways from where DID left off, which is similar but also different at the same time. So
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned During Gray, because I remember when like people first discovered Deviloof, a lot of people were like, reminds me of During Gray.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's like a law of the internet, though. If it's the Visual K band, there'll be a comment within 5 comments about Duran Gray.
During Gray or the Gazette, one or the other.
Yeah.
to be fair, the Gazette one gets pretty accurate sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of pretty accurate Gazette imitations, the last PV is by Vexant.
Oh my god. Our favorite.
Yeah. No, all right. So like I said before, last episode or two ago, I don't remember which one. I like Vexant as a band. Like, I thought their first single, Slade, I thought it was great. We just all like to give them shit for, very obvious, taking very heavy inspiration, we'll call it, from, certain artists and stuff like that.
The neck makeup and things like that.
Yeah, heavy inspiration. But, it's not going to pass too much judgment. Indie band, you got to do what you got to do, all that. But so they have their first full album out, and I'm just a really big fan of the PV off of the first full album, which is, the album's called Victim. And then the PV is in Japanese, of course, and I can't read Japanese. Yeah, I know, I'm like a horrible Visual K person. I can't read Japanese.
No, you're not.
It is Ai Nante Saishun. And basically, I'm going to send you guys this if you want to check it out while I'm talking about it, because
Sure.
it's just, so it starts with the electronic little poppy remix of Do Your Ears Hang Low?
God.
And then it just rushes into fucking heavy alternative metal. And it's just my favorite thing ever. It's just really fun to listen to.
Popping mix up of Do Your Ears Hang Low.
Yeah, and it'll...
Mine do, because they're stretched. No, I'm kidding. Oh my god.
And it's just it ends with do your ears hang, and then the vocalist comes in with that one's just...
Don't ruin it. Don't spoil it.
Spoilers. You kind of know it's coming anyway. Yeah, and it's all creepy and bloody.
Yeah, they're dragging dead bodies. It's bloody.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, so...
I love it. I love it already. I love it.
And, Winona, check out what's on his neck.
No, it just changed to the best. It was the best transition I had seen today.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
What else did you send? What was the thing you wanted me to look at?
Oh, notice anything familiar about the vocalist's neck?
Oh, yeah.
Duh. Isn't it always? Isn't he always? I thought that was a given.
The rookie stripes, man. Look at that.
Oh, I really like this, though.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Well,
That's
the thing is,
it's
now
good.
he covered up those stripes, so he's wearing scarves.
Okay, but all right. Here's the thing, though. We've made fun of Vexant. I'll stick up for him here. This is not a Gazette clone song, even though it's alt metal. And I say that just because the Gazette absolutely does not own alternative metal. They don't own a lot of things, actually, that people do.
It's change it drastically.
Yeah. Did it change back?
They just make it their own. That's what they do. They covet. They covet it.
Yeah. I say they appropriate it. They appropriate different stuff. But I'm all for this personally. I just love alt metal, heavy stuff. So it's totally a biased thing too. I'm sure there's people that can't stand this, but I find it hilarious and also nice to listen to. So
yeah.
Wow, we took 30 minutes on our what are we listening to stuff. We had some shit to say, guys.
Apparently.
It's because I had listened to things, actually.
That's true. Winona has a wealth of knowledge to offer when she listens to things.
Okay, but actually though, I look in the comments now, and the first comment I see is, it reminds me of the Gazette. Maybe it's only me, LOL. No, it's definitely not you only commenter person. I'm sure there's at least one other commenter that thinks this.
Oh, yeah.
The first comment you see in the YouTube? In this song that...
It was the first one I laid eyes on. It might have been the third comment.
That was actually part of why I brought it up.
It's definitely not the first comment, because the first comment's in Japanese.
Yeah, it's the third one now.
It's the third.
If you
it's funny,
if you go
Jeff
down,
just said first 5 comments. It's gonna
Yeah,
be.
well, and if I go down further, then I see a comment in Japanese about how it sounds like a specific Gazette song. So, like,
Yeah, it's just what I'm trying to get at is that, like, just because a giant band like the Gazette plays with something, doesn't mean they own it.
right?
So
No, yeah, I agree with
I
you.
feel like when it comes to metal and heavy metal and stuff, as much as J-Rock or Visual K fans want to say or act like they're very musically analytical or cultured and stuff, a lot of people like throw metal music all together, So when they say it sounds like the Gazette, they're saying, in a lot of ways, they're saying it sounds like alt metal. Like I could argue that this sounds like heavy Garugamesh.
Yeah, you could. You totally could.
Yeah, or like if Duran Gray sold out or something like that, like different things like that. Like if Duran Gray like moved to a more mainstream sound, or things like that. So
if Duran Gray lightened up.
Yeah, lightened up. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, and part of that's just because like I've said before, like the whole point of bands like the Gazette, or the whole role that they serve for a lot of the scene, is that they will take something and make it okay for indie bands to do, and then those indie bands can go and do whatever they want with it. And I definitely am a supporter of that, because even still, with when you had the first bands that made it okay for like, okay, we can mix electronic music, that was back like 2010, 2011.
That was when Toxic came out.
Yeah, Toxic by the Gazette and similar stuff like that. Like nowadays, we're still getting great stuff from artists that are experimenting with that, and like A9's like new album heavily experiments with like electronic music, and it's fantastic, in my opinion. So, all right, that's the end of my rant. But the real thing to take away from here is that electronic remixes of Dear Ears Hang Low pair very well with like death growls. So, no big deal.
Yeah, that was a great thing right there. Yeah, I got chills. They were multiplying.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to our main topic, A-Kon 2017. So, woo. So I got to go out to A-Kon 2017 in Fort Worth, Texas, and got to see some cool live performances by Pentagon Japan and Octo, which is a J-rock group that consists of Tom Hack, who's a guitarist, but who's a guitarist that's much more well known as like a very accomplished producer of anime music, and also Masayoshi Ohishi, who is also very well known for anime music. These are two of the most like integral anime opener and closer makers, and they have their own project that they've started together. And then Oishi also did his own live performance, like a solo acoustic live. So I'm actually going to start with that. The first live that we saw was Masayoshi Oishi, and this dude is like really, really talented. First topic of interest from him is that he is a slap guitarist, and he is a very good slap guitarist. And he in a lot of ways,
Jeff called him Neo Miyabi.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, he's like acoustic Miyavi 2.0, and I don't mean that as a slight to Miyavi, but it's like it's if Miyavi kept going with his acoustic sound and like started using the entire body of the acoustic guitar, started changing up his picking and things like that, you would kind of get to a point where Ohishi is at, and he's just really good, and he's very fun live. He both in Octo and in his solo performance, he had a really good, like, warm and engaging personality, and he was like, what's up, A-Kon? And in one of his acoustic songs, he was like, let me introduce you to my band, while he's playing slap guitar and keeping the rhythm by with the slaps and stuff, and he's like, let me introduce you to my band. On trumpets, me, and then he started going, but like really, really, really like accurately, and then he switched to like scat for a little bit, and it's just like but like Yeah, like he's a really multi-talented, really cool guy. You can check out his acoustic stuff that he does. It's on Spotify under Masayoshi Ohishi. I'll put the name in the description so you know how to spell it. But yeah, it's really, really good stuff. Really good music to chill to. Really fun live. He later joined up with Tom to perform as Octo. Octo is capital O, lowercase x, capital T. The O stands for Oishi, and the T stands for Tom, and the X stands for verses. So their whole thing is that they're going back and forth doing like different guitar riffs and like vocals and stuff like that. You can get a good idea of like what their sounds like if you look up Klatanoia on YouTube. They consider their style digital rock, but they use like a lot of different elements. Or they use some elements outside of that. So you'll have in some songs, you'll have Oishi on slap guitar, guitar battling with Tom Hack, who's on like an electric guitar, and they're both just shredding, and they go back and forth. And they have like a really fun live energy, and a lot of great guitar solos. I got to go back to that for sure. But have you guys ever heard any of their music?
Oh, I'm sure I have. I mean, I'm a very how can I like frame an anime addiction in like terms that aren't like negative? But like, yeah, Winona, like, make it sound sophisticated that I watch anime.
James is a weeaboo. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I also watch a lot of anime, so I'm in the same boat as James, but I actually checked out Otto, and I don't remember the name of the anime they did an opening for, but they've done several. I think they either did 2 songs for the same series, or they did 2 songs for 2 totally separate series, and it's really interesting because the way that, since you mentioned that they're both really well-known producers of anime. One of them, I'm pretty sure one of them also produced the theme song for Space Dandy that I just am obsessed with, because like every time I listen to their music, I'm like, they have to, it's like it has to be the same guy. It's gotta be the same guy in my head, but I'm not sure. But yeah, like their musical style is.
So their guitarist, well, he's more known as a producer, Tom Hack. I think you might best know him as he did the theme song composition and arrangement for A-Kon, for the movie and the TV show and the TV series.
Yeah, I've listened to so much A-Kon like in my life, like whether just the music or watching the show. Like I feel like it's almost like a neural tattoo at this point. Like,
looking up Tom Hack on my anime list.
Like if I hear like K-On music, like instantly I'm like seeking out like who is playing it to bond with them.
Well, this is the kind of guy that makes that music. And
I know. It would be amazing to see him. Yeah, I mean, like Tom Hack, like I'm blanking on like specific things, but even in the past year, I'm like, gosh, I'm sure I've watched stuff that he's composed for.
It was Overlord. I think the name of the anime was Overlord, or at least that was one of the ones that Tom Hack composed for.
If you pull them up on like my anime list or something, it's just like their individual profiles. It's just like a long list, like all the anime.
I'm looking at Tom Hack's anime list profile. Yeah, but
he had to have done something this season, right? Like,
well, see, Otto is new. Like they're like.
No, I was like talking about Tom Hack himself, but I mean, yeah.
I'm pretty sure his life is currently in Otto, but I don't know.
They do their own stuff, at the same time as doing Octo and stuff. And then Octo's made anime openers as well. So it's just really interesting seeing a group that's like, all right, they're producers and they write and they're composers and they write and record anime songs and stuff. But then you see them on stage and they're they're great performers, they're great rock stars, and it's like all of that experience with like the constant arrangement and experimentation with new music and stuff, and it's just like, oh, hey, we put together this project, You Versus Me, just like a couple years ago, and it's just like slays, especially live. It's just really interesting.
Like Takahashi.
It's just watching like musical experience like bleed into like every aspect of like a song or a performance, from the composure to how well they played to how well they engaged the crowd to, all of that, it's just really refreshing. So I'm really glad that they came, because like they were completely off my radar. I tend to avoid anime opening sounding songs, and I guess by extension that's caused me to avoid actual anime opener songs. So,
yeah, did you know Mook did an anime opening? They did many anime openings.
Yeah. No, I know about that. And
Naruto. Seven Deadly Sins, but Seven Deadly Sins got cut short.
Well, they did. Mother was the ending song for Naruto. And I liked that one.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Nirvana was was an opening for something. I actually didn't, and I didn't like Nirvana so much.
Classic was the opening for Nanatsu no Taizai, and I got really into that show, man. And then Netflix was like, well, season 2, it's only 4 episodes, and season 2 was where Mook's opening was, and I was like, so where's episode 5? And people were like, nah, fam, that's it. I was like, no, you're lying. You're lying to me.
Okay, wait. So, like, speaking of like anime, like, and stuff, and composers, are you like familiar with like blanking on his name, but the guy who's like behind Coal Tower of the Deepers, and he did like Penguin Drum and the one about the lesbian bears.
What?
I'm not familiar.
No.
I think this is where we need to turn back to visual camera.
Yeah, we need to go back.
No, wait. I'm sending you a link you can watch, but like, it's
okay.
He was like huge in the underground. I'm gonna have to go look up his name, but he's like huge in the underground, and then he sort of became like big in anime production.
Holy shit! This sounds great.
Right?
Wow.
But like now he mainly composes anime music. But I mean, the project's mainly him doing different instruments.
So his anime openers don't sound like this, like heavy, crazy stuff?
No, it's more like sort of dreamy shoegaze when he does the anime openers.
Oh, okay.
But like, I mean, at least when his band's doing it, but he'll write stuff that he doesn't perform.
Cool. Yeah,
we should go to visual.
I'm enjoying it. I'm listening to it, but I'm absorbing it.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, he wrote for Baby
really
Metal
good.
too. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
But I'll have to look up his name.
Baby Metal.
We're all big Baby Metal fans here, right, Winona?
Yeah.
Heel. Achilles heel.
I'm slowly winning. I'm slowly evangelizing to Winona about Baby Metal. So.
Well, Winona's huge on Baby Metal already.
Yeah. I think the sigh says everything.
I was huge on Baby Metal as Jeff is on anime openings, man. I
don't know. Damn. That's good. All right. We've put it off long enough, but so finally.
Yeah, why are you procrastinating?
Building up the hype, man. So Pentagon Japan was the last band that performed there. Obviously, very popular indie visual K band, and it was their debut U.S. performance, and they pretty much knocked it out of the park, man. Like it was a lot of fun. Just the entire concert. They have a good energy about them. It's actually, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it's somewhat almost out of sync in that each kind of band member sort of has their own personality, and they're just kind of like, expressing that, across the stage and throughout. Like you have Chizuru, who's kind of like who's the vocalist, who's like the mainstay. he's like the center of attention, like to keep you grounded in the show. Then you have Yutori, who's the guitarist with the clown makeup, and he's crazy on stage, man. He's running around like all across the stage. He's falling down. He kissed Chizuru like hard on the lips for like 3 solid seconds at one point. Like, dude's like, yeah, well, sure, but like the dude's like. He's crazy, he's shouting into the mic and all kinds of stuff. And then you have Minfa, who's the bassist, and he's just kind of there being very elegant, which is in stark contrast, to Yutori, for example. And, he's playing bass, he's twirling, he's looking very graceful and elegant. And then you have Taku, the other guitarist, and he's kind of more towards the back, just kind of chilling and just kind of looking cool. And then he just comes up to the front and like shreds guitar solos and stuff like that. So he's kind of like the cool guy on the stage in a way. And then finally you have Atsuki on drums, and he's just he's wailing on the drums. He's having fun. He wasn't wearing any makeup, I don't think, for the performance, so he actually looked a lot like a US drummer, and it kind of made them fit in a bit, in spite of all the other crazy visuals and stuff like that. It was like that one point it stuck out to me. It was like, yeah, cool, it's just like kind of
hey, look at that,
yeah, look at that. But it was a really solid set. They had a lot of songs to choose from. They played a couple songs off their new album, and just I had a lot of fun. I was in the press pit covering it, but like it was just really hard to not headbang and dance and stuff like that. It's good stuff. And I think I sent you guys a link that it was like of like a live summary or live digest of one of Pentagon Japan's earlier lives. And it looked really catchy and fun and stuff. And I said that I was like, I really feel like this is going to be the kind of live performance that I'm going to walk in there just kind of all composed and stuff, and I'm going to come out like a squealing, jumping, Furutsuki performing fangirl, so to speak, because it's like all happy and poppy and everything like that.
Left and right.
And it was much more punk than I expected. And that's going to be like an underlying theme as we're talking about Pentagon Japan, is that this band, I think, got a lot of hype, for a lot of different reasons, but I think one of the undervalued part of it is that they are a mixture of dark fantasy, which is very like obvious to people, and punk music, which is not very obvious. Like, for example, their new PV for Toon World off of their new album is literally based on a Sum 41 music video. Like, yeah. So and like you can hear like in especially in their new album, where they really got to, and they said this in the interview with us that we'll have up, is that they really got to really branch out with their punk influences and really just let themselves, really make this album their own and really like just experiment as much as they absolutely wanted to. And you can hear the influences and everything like that. So I guess at this point I'll officially transition it to we can talk about the Pentagon Japan's new album, Wanderlust, for a bit. Have you guys all had a chance to listen to it?
We're talking about that yet? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no. I know. I'm just like saying it officially, so it's like I'm not just rambling.
No, I was listening. I was just kidding. I was kidding.
I know.
I haven't had the chance to listen to it. I just got it.
Okay.
I did. I liked it, but I still need to give it a few more listen throughs.
Yeah.
Come back to me in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I can give you my solid opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Well, mark it in the calendar.
Yeah.
I think we all knew that Pentagon Japan was going to be a great, a really
hit.
A hit. They were going to be a huge popular, band, and that they are going to be and continue to become that. I think after listening to this album, I'm really confident that they're going to be a great band as well. Like a genuinely like solid band musically. That's not something I necessarily questioned, But, you know, they've been very experimental up to this point, and they've had some things that I personally really loved, and then some things that I wasn't completely into, but I was definitely still into the band itself. And so it was really like gratifying to like hear this, because you can really tell it's a culmination of like all their experimentation that they had with like dubstep and the dark fantasy themes, the punk stuff, the heavier stuff, and it just like all melts together in like, you know, and their like tendency to like drastically change like the energy or the theme of a song like mid song and stuff like that, and they're using a lot of it in like really good ways, and then like adding more punk stuff. So like you hear like influences from like, you know, it sounds like I think they're influenced a bit by Archite. And they are influenced by a lot of American punk bands as well. But you know, you hear sounds similar to like I'll use the same example again as like Bug Lug, but it's really like the backbone for all this crazy tone shifting and like genre blending and like all kinds of stuff. So I really enjoyed the album so far. I've listened to it like 5 times. So. James, did you have any further thoughts on it, or any favorite tracks?
I liked the variety of it. I was surprised by that, but you know, no, I mean, I'm similar to you in that I need to give something a few listen throughs, but yeah. I mean, my initial reaction is that I really enjoyed it. So yeah,
A-Kon 2017, had a great time. I'll use this opportunity to give a special shout out to Chizuru, Yutori, Minfa, Taku, and Atsuki. You guys are fucking awesome. So nice to meet you.
I think all of Twitter knows how nice it was for you to meet them.
Yeah, I guess they know. But yeah, it's so nice to meet you. You guys are awesome. I'll come visit you guys in Japan when I get the chance. But yeah, it's really good experience, you know, or really good mixture between Pentagon Japan, you know, who are these new young upstarts that are very like colorful and like disorganized, but like in a good way, you know, they're like the rebels and like stuff like that, you know, and then you had like these musical veterans on the other side that were able to just like kind of cut out a niche for themselves to draw attention and gain, you know, new fans and stuff like that. And so you had, it was really good for anyone that got to go and saw all that there was to see, like all the concerts and stuff like that. So really cool stuff. All right. So moving on to our next topic is this is a rough one for a lot of people, and that is we wanted to talk a bit about Mejibray's hiatus. So I've talked for a bit. Does anyone have any thoughts on this, or want to dive in first?
I know for a fact that fans were devastated, more than devastated. And I think that a lot of people are wondering what kind of hiatus this will be, because you have 2 ends here. You got the Versailles hiatus, where they'll definitely come back, or you have the Malice Miser hiatus, where they might never, ever, ever come back. So there's these 2 ends. That's it. That's all I got. But yeah. Do we even know what everyone's doing while they're on hiatus?
I don't know off the top of my
head. Yeah,
head.
We haven't heard anything. Like, why did they go on hiatus? This isn't like when Death Gaze went on hiatus.
To be honest, though, it's like, unlike Death Gaze, who was like continuing to do like really epic stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, there hadn't been, at least for myself, there hadn't been anything they'd done in years that I really thought lived up to their early hype. And I don't necessarily think I'm alone in that when it comes to like sort of like critical reviews and that.
You mean Mejibray or Death Gaze?
Mejibray, yeah.
Yeah. You're right, because their music was kind of like going a little, they got a little like shaky, like they're running out of ideas on what to do exactly. So I think that's why they ended up going on hiatus. But it would really help if they like came out with like a solo project, like a couple of them, so we can know that they're trying to work on finding new things to do. You know, like Duran Gray isn't going on hiatus because they basically are like they can't. So they've got we've got Kyo and Sukakia, and then you've got Dai in that band with the voice actor who is Vegeta. So that's how I think about it. And he's also in that other band that he started, and you did a review for them. I forgot the name of the band, which makes me feel like an ass.
Oh.
And I know the other member is the Novembers, and then there's
I thought he left.
He left? Okay.
Well, because he wasn't in the last music video. But yeah, I mean... Oh,
that
gosh.
band.
I can't remember the name either now.
I would be down with a Mia solo project.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like Mia's solo project is on Instagram. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, this has been a kind of a frustrating band for me to talk about. Not really frustrating, but just like perplexing, I guess. I was very much not a fan of Medjugorje initially. I was really into like a couple like really heavy bands at the time, like after they put out around the time they put out Karma, their first album. And so I was like really, this is actually like my jaded Visual K fan story. Like I was way into Signal. If you guys remember Signal.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember Signal.
They put out like this first single is called like Grow Back Over Scars, or I think it was called Glow Back Over Scars.
Yeah, it was Glow Back. Yeah, I remember this argument.
And it's still so, like, to this day, if you listen to it, it sounds amazing. Like, heavy, effortless transition into, like, you know, like an anthemic, like, chorus, and, like, just, it had everything. And I was like, this is amazing. And then they disbanded. And...
that's every band. This is amazing. They're gone.
I was like, this is rough. Like, you know, and then, you know, so then you had Medjugorje, and they were like kind of at the point where they had put out Dikus, which was the song that, if you look on the YouTube comments on that, it's everybody saying this sounds like Filth and the Beauty by the Gazette, you know?
Yeah.
And so that like really turned me off a lot and stuff. But then I wanted to give them another chance because they're definitely gaining steam, and, you know, their style's cool, and you can kind of tell they've got something to work with. So actually it was one of my first reviews of VKH. I reviewed the Messiah album, mini album they did. Mm-hmm. And I really liked it. It was really good. And then after that, they kind of took off. Like they were doing really good for a while. Like A Priori by them is like my favorite song by them. Like it's so heavy and it's so perfect. Like it's perfectly put together and stuff.
I remember you were like praising the high heavens for that one in your review.
Oh yeah, dude, it was great. The PV was great. I reviewed the PV. It was great. I was like, this is exactly what, because I had said like, you know, I wanted them to take like the rawness that they had that like made them stick out from other bands and just like push it further, you know, and use that to their advantage, and don't just fall in line as like, you know, we're a Visual K metal band and we sound like this, because like you don't sound like this. You have a vocalist who's a very unique and distinct voice, and he can do certain things that other vocalists can, and there's some things he can't do that, you know, other vocalists can do. And so with A Priori, like they pushed it like to the max and stuff like that. And then they had like Decadence, Counting Goats came out. I really liked that. I was a really big fan of that. And then Raven came out, and that was like, this is like genius. Like I thought it was genius. It was just like, it was almost like pure noise to a degree, like that heavy or that much, you know, metallic. But you know, it just sounded so good at the same time, and they still had that effortless transition. And then at that point, like you had like, you know, you had the Killing Me remake that came out for their compilation album, and that was really awesome. And then you started to get into stuff like Theatrical Blue Black, which was kind of like it sounded more like little rehash, and then like you got into the album, and I know a lot of people for that album, the 420 Theatrical something roses. I know a lot of people.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were kind of like, on the album because they tried like some different things that just didn't quite stick, and then they really went downhill. I think in like 2015 was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because after Theatrical Blue Black, we were just like, "What are you doing?" And then now here we are.
Yeah, it was like by the time they got to, there was some stuff in there that was good, like Venoms was kind of cool, but it was kind of rehash of like Decadence, you know what I mean, or like and stuff like that. And then by the time they got to Secret number 3, like it was like, what are you doing? Like, what has happened? Like, oh my god, it was so bad, guys. It was so bad.
Jeff is frustrated.
Oh, I was so frustrated. I was like, I want Signal back. And by around that point, you had Killineth had come out, and they were heavily inspired by Metrobrae in a lot of ways. And I think they put out Apocrypha, which was like this epic like gothic metal single, and then they disbanded right after. I'm like, it's not fair. It's not fucking fair.
Well, we only got one.
So
we only got one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I actually did say in my 2015 year in review that I did want them to go on hiatus. Not because like I'm mad at them or anything like that, because I do care, because I do think that they have value when they've got it together. I think they've got like tremendous potential, but they just really need to go on hiatus and like figure out stuff. And so it's like sometimes it's like it's good when a band goes on hiatus. So like if you've liked any of Metrobrae's music and you kind of feel the same way that like I might, or like other people might, or stuff like that, just know this is like a time that they can take to kind of regroup, kind of like, sometimes that needs to happen, for good bands that maybe, just need to fall back and regroup, like Sadie or Nightmare, stuff like that. But
wait, didn't Sadie disband though? Or is it hiatus?
No, they're
Sadie?
Yeah.
Sadie disbanded.
Yeah, Sadie disbanded. The real hiatus we should be talking about is the one dearest to my heart, 12012.
No, they're on hiatus.
Ooh.
Sadie's on hiatus.
They are, I know.
Yeah.
Wait, Sadie or 12012?
Sadie.
Oh. Huh.
They disbanded.
Sadie did go on.
Born disbanded.
Born disbanded.
For reasons.
Screw disbanded.
Sadie, I remember Sadie was like going in this direction, and Jeff, I remember you talking to you about it. You were like, "Yeah, Sadie kind of needs to figure something out," because they were copying Duran Gray for the Obscure music video, I think it was. And you're like, they aren't sure what they're doing, and then
I did like what they made with that, but it didn't feel like them. But then the Gangsta album that they put out was a train wreck. I liked Dead End, which was the lead single off of it. I think that's cool. I still listen to that, but like
need to go back to Gather Roses. You just need to go back to Gather Roses.
Wrong band. That's Screw.
Oh, true. That is Screw. What happened to Screw? They disbanded. Was that it?
Screw disbanded. Yeah.
Yeah, Screw disbanded.
That's who I was thinking of. Screw disbanded.
Their bassist was like. Screw's bassist was all like, I'm going to be a fashion designer, and then he gave up on it and started like a J-Rock career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I want to be clear. All these bands, Screw and Sadie, they were both on PSC, right?
So was 12012 though.
12012 was on PSC?
Yeah.
They went major, and then they were Sony, right?
Yeah, they went major, and then everybody slammed their albums, and then they lost the one guitarist, and then they were on, I think they were on Firewall, and then
they had a bunch of like, what's the word, scandals and shit going down too. It was a bunch of bullshit too.
Yeah, they had the vocalist got arrested and everything. But then
here's my thing with Sadie and Screw. Both the vocalists, like, just like both those bands. At some point, they just both started collapsing, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't follow them and distinguish them myself mentally. That's what happened. But yeah, 12012.
But no, 12012, like, we all need to, like, every day keep them in our hearts, because, like...
Keep them in our thoughts and prayers.
You can't deny that their self-titled album, when they came back from the hiatus they had, and then they dropped a cover of Glaze Winter Again, and it was, like, really calm and soft, and everybody was like, oh, great, they're going to go back to doing the soft stuff that was on, like, Mar Maroon. And then they dropped, like, the music video for Suicide, and then that entire album is just non-stop, just carnage. It's amazing.
They were like, you thought we would be soft bitches.
And that music video too is like so cool, because like the vocalist Miyawaki, like, he's painted his teeth black and everything, and it's awesome. But
now would be a good time, you know.
James is just like, he's just like mourning the loss.
I am.
Okay.
I don't think that album is really appreciated for the brilliance it is. Like, I mean, that is like a Nagoya K masterpiece, like top 10 Nagoya K albums of all time.
Which
now
one?
We have
12012, just it's self-titled.
12012 self-titled.
Oh, the self-titled. Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
I really liked the Swan when they made that too.
Yeah, that was good. And I mean, even their mini album right before they went on hiatus was kind of a cool concept, because every member like really took charge and like composed their own song.
I think I heard the album. I think I really liked that album too.
Yeah, it was a good album.
Yeah, that came out a long time ago. Back when I was still in high school.
Don't rub it in.
All right, moving on. We're gonna jump to and Winona, this is your topic. The Golden Bomber has a pretty awesome PV that you would like to talk about.
Yes. Why do we make CDs? Question mark. Okay. I like how these each were supposed to be 10 minutes. These are not. Okay, yeah.
We're not getting paid for this. We can do this however we want.
True. Okay. Golden Bombers. Why do we make CDs? Hold on. I'm gonna take a minute to skip through this. But I remember that the general idea of the music video was that they're making fun of like white backdrop visual K music videos, like the really basic ones, like that they did for like Mother and stuff. And they're taking that and they're all like dressed in black. So I guess it's kind of like Nagoya K, making fun of Nagoya K music videos. Yeah, Nagoya K music videos. But they're singing about their frustrations of still selling CDs in the digital age. Like, they're like, why do we even make CDs anymore if the sales just keep going down? And like, we have iTunes, we have like Apple Music, but we're still selling CDs. And they have it subtitled. Thank God I can read these lyrics and see exactly what they were saying. Yeah, they show that over the years, over like from 1998 to 2014, they literally put up a bar graph in the music video showing how sales had gone down, like just really down to 2014, which is the point, which is like 3 years before this music video came out. But it's kind of funny because then they just start. They show QR codes on the DVD.
Oh, yeah, look! Yeah. They put a pen pineapple apple pen imitator in here.
Yeah,
That's funny.
They did, because that just became a huge meme everywhere. I don't know how that became a big thing. It's really funny. Everyone got to meet that guy too. I'm sorry, I'm trying to check what I was supposed to talk about with this. Honestly, they're just really frustrated about why they're still making CDs when everything is digital and CD sales are just going down and down. And they're like, why do we try and push this? Like, you get like the CD types what was it? Who released like A through K types? That was
Kiryu.
Kiryu.
Sorry,
K
Southern
and
accent.
Tatsuya from Lark and Ciel released a stupid number of types for single too, and I was just like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to like Q right now. Like, it was weird. And
I was so annoyed because I was totally down to review that single. I think it was QB, and I just saw that. I was like, fuck, seriously, I'm not reviewing all these types. That's way too many.
Yeah, and at the end of the music video, you see them like basically saying "Rest in peace, CDs." Like at the end of the music video, and they're posing with QR codes. They all become QR codes, and it's a not so subtle like nod to the industry saying, guys, give up on CDs. It's not gonna happen. But like in Japan, CDs, a long time ago, I learned that like CDs were like a big thing. Like it wasn't just like buying the CD; it was that you had it. It was having the physical object, and it became like a collectible item, which is why we get like the Obi with the CDs and stuff, and then they come with like all these limited edition items to really try and what's it called, and build an incentive to buying these CDs and buying the more expensive versions because they came with a photo book or they came with a limited edition jacket, which was literally what Vamps did for Underworld. And I don't know how they got that together, but they did it. And sometimes you could even get like, most often it's like a poster or like a signature or something, which I honestly totally threw my money at Match and Romper for their first album, and then didn't spend any money on any of their other CDs after that, unless it was online. But like, yeah, it's really interesting that you see Golden Bomber go into it because no one's talking about it. The Golden Bomber starts pointing out that issue, and it was already pointed out like everywhere else. Because I remember like initially, like a big reason why we don't see a lot of why we didn't see a lot of visual K artists on iTunes and online was because they were so worried about pirating. And they were like, what if the music just gets stolen or like downloaded? Like they were just so worried about pirating. And that was another reason why we didn't get a lot of YouTube videos from like record labels directly in the past before YouTube Red decided just in general, no, we can't get any of Japan's videos. And now they're just starting to say, well, downloading happens, and the best way to prevent downloading is to just make our music more accessible. And I guess they're starting to crawl toward that. But the fact that they're still selling CDs, they're just kind of like, this is just making us lose money, and we keep putting more money into it, and it's just going to hurt our profits. So I think that's really just what the whole thing is for them. And I see where they're coming from because honestly, I haven't bought a CD since I first got into visual K. That's not good. I'm not a very good example because a lot of the music I get is for review purposes anyway. So,
do you think that this is a problem that's more exclusive to major bands as opposed to indie bands, or would you say it's both? And the reason I ask that is because it just seems to me like from what I've seen and experienced of that is that the CD sales and having the different types of CDs and different versions and stuff for fans to collect and stuff like that seems like something that would really help like an indie band out a lot, although I don't know what the profit margin is on it at the same time. So
I feel like it's more major bands because indie bands don't have the money for that kind of production. Like to make these CDs and to make all those extra incentive materials, that's money. And then like they aren't profiting as much from it as we saw in their graph, which we really don't know if that's accurate or not. But based on how a lot of people talk about CDs, we can assume that it's pretty spot on. But
well, you have a lot of indie bands that do it, like all the BP Records bands, do it. Curry, Roy's,
but they're backed
Komodo
by
Dragon.
They're still backed by labels though. I mean, like bands who aren't, because Yeah,
like
and then if you
fully
get like
independent, then
yeah, like a fully independent artist, they're better off doing something digitally because they don't have the money to invest in CDs. Once you get on a record label, yeah, you can do singles, but we haven't seen Kiryu be like, oh yeah, you can get a fucking jacket. Like it's easy for them to say, hey, get a signed photograph because signatures are easy to do. That's literally them. That's them selling their body essentially. But
they are on Spotify, by the way.
Yeah, for them to do what Vamps does, they have to basically be on Vamps level to get like a whole fucking, what is it? They have an illustrator. They literally go to Rock Jelly or something. I don't remember the name of this illustrator. I love their work, but I don't remember their name. But they go to a whole other illustrator, and this illustrator has been making their album art since Bloodsuckers. And it's beautiful. And then that illustrator, like they did for Underworld, they did the illustration for the album cover, right? But then they extended it to make a poster version of it, which has like a dog and shit on it. And then Underworld gets moved up to the top of it or something. And then they took, I think they took that font for Underworld and they put it on the back of a jacket. And that's just a lot of money to put into the whole thing. So you gotta wonder, how much money are they making off of the actual CDs to be in the black as opposed to being in the red. And as big as Vamps is, they can safely do this because they're fucking huge in Japan, but they can't really sell that kind of stuff in the US quite yet because as we've seen in the calling comments, they are not very loved by the metal community quite yet in America. So
no, now I have to go look at these comments.
Oh,
yeah, you gotta look at the comments, man. They're like all over the place. You got like hardcore Vamps fans, and you got people who are like, "Are these women?" And we're just like, "What do you mean?" And then you got people who are like, "This is a pop band trying to be a rock band" and stuff like that. And I have a whole article on me talking about the fans who want them to go all the way back to being Lark and Ciel. So I gotta finish that too. It's a whole thing, but it's read my review. Read my review on Underworld.
I will say that the sooner Japan or the Japanese music industry does ditch, physical CD sales, the sooner they'll be on the same page as, the US industry, hopefully making their music more accessible and easier to get a hold of, and I think it'll work out for the best. I think it'll work out in a positive way for them if they can just find it in themselves to stop selling CDs and make their music more available and restructure their business model to profit off of that the way that Western bands have had to.
Well, maybe not stop selling CDs. Maybe just instead of selling hella CDs because they're also selling singles on CDs, maybe just sell the album and zero in all your investments on that album because the singles, like those could just go up online.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to have a whole campaign for one song that'll just eventually just be used as a key track on the album because then you're losing money. I don't know about how interested fans will be in said album because they're going to be really happy that song's on the album, but they're going to sit there and be like, well, I already have 3 of the songs and those are already on plastic. So
well, one of the draws for singles from coming out of Japan, especially in the Visual Kei community, that I have almost never seen in Western bands is that one, they come out fairly frequently and don't have to necessarily be on an album. And so they feel like more distinct releases than when Breaking Benjamin puts out 2 singles a few months ahead of its album release. And that it's from the new album. On Spotify, the album cover of that single is the album cover of the album, and stuff like that. And then, but with these, they can be their own discrete releases, and number 2, they have a lot of tracks sometimes. They have maxi singles.
They become
like that.
maxi singles.
So
6 tracks.
I would say well, a huge portion of the Gazette's like fan favorites come from B-sides on singles. They don't play.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, Without a Trace. That's one of my favorite songs.
They don't play Red live. They play Vermin. You know, they don't play Shiver live. They play Hesitating Means Death. You know, They don't play Remember the Urge. They play Clever Monkey. You know, like I could go on and on, which I love. I love that song.
Everyone loves Clever Monkey.
Yeah. So So I wouldn't want to lose that, but it'll be interesting to see, because I think the attitude is definitely shifting more towards digital, and I think that because I'm seeing more bands on digital, and you know.
Yeah, I think that letting go of that culture is just it's so hard, because it already took them forever to get on the internet. Like, just I remember, like, MySpace first rolled around. Crystal Yang from J-Rock Revolution was saying that she was talking to somebody. This was in an interview. I don't remember where it was, but she was saying that she was talking to, I think it was Gact, and then they were like, yeah, man, you got to think about getting on, like, Twitter. Like, this is when Twitter first came out, and they were like, what, you mean letting the fans, like, the managers were like, you mean letting fans get to the artists on the internet? They're like, LOL, not gonna happen. But now look where we are. Like, they're all over Twitter, and this is their main source of campaigning. But they were just so slow getting there, because they were like, should we? No. And then they had to wait until they only saw, like, green lights, and then just went for it instead of taking the risk of doing it. And even getting on, like, iTunes and Spotify and all that took a while too. So it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a long time, because we're already, like, there. But Japan's, like, kind of in the 90s right now in terms of marketing, I want to say. If we're in 2017, they're in, like, 90s, early thousands, right?
Yeah. I'd say so. Like, CDs were still big, but MP3s were also becoming a thing.
Yeah, they're also still trying to control the media, so they need to not do that.
Yeah, fight the power. I mean,
it'd be better. That First Amendment in Japan, like, I don't know.
Yeah. VKH does not condone. VKH Breakdown does not condone any sort of rioting or revolting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Disclaimer.
Please don't source us as a reason for you to fight the power.
On the record, no, we don't.
James will take that. No, if kids want to revolt, go for it.
Only James, not James from VKH, just James O'Brien. James.
If elementary schoolers are listening and you guys want to, like, flip tables or something, like, go for it.
Say James said it was okay. James said I could do it.
And that's why we're going to have an explicit tag when we get to iTunes. So the kids never hear that.
Well, we already cursed across the board, so it's already a given. The minute you say fuck, they say explicit.
Yeah. Oh, you ruined it, Winona. We were doing so good.
No, we weren't.
We were exactly one fuck below where we were supposed to be. And now...
You could cut that out.
I ain't cutting shit out.
You just said shit. I heard you.
Ugh.
Back to business.
Okay, moving on. Before we all get too punch drunk, tired. I'm there. Yeah,
you're
there.
James is really drunk.
I'm not, like, drunk or anything. I'm just, like, exhausted. Like, I took, like, this huge ass walk this morning, and then I worked, and by the time I got to work, I was like, wow, like, I should not have gone for that huge ass walk this morning.
I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, I'm running on, like, 4 hours of sleep.
I just shouldn't say anything. If I say something, it's gonna make me look like an asshole.
All right, guys, one more. We got one more. And James,
okay.
It's yours. It's we're gonna talk about Mary's new sound.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Oh, Mary. No, I'm kidding.
I think this came up in, like, the group chat we have as we hash out stuff for each episode, and I was just like, you know...
Mary, yeah.
sort of in like a line of cohesive logic, sort of with precedent of like jokes about airplane food. I was just kind of like, wow, Mary, what's up with that? And I mean, I guess like, right? I mean, like,
You tell Jason's tired.
well, no, I mean, like, they had that one song about owls and junk, and that song's like just wow, like knocks it out of the park. Like that's some like the best,
Wow.
like some of the best drums on a song, and like I don't know since sliced bread. And so you're sitting there listening to that song about owls, and it's awesome. And there's the cool spoken part at the end. And then, like, it all starts to go downhill after their bassist, like, does anybody remember, like, he got, like, dragged by, like, a fangirl, and he, like, severely injured his neck?
Yeah.
And so, like, he's still, like, in every music video and stuff, he, like, wears the neck brace. Maybe he wears it, like, 24/7 now.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, but, not
is it like Yoshi's thing, where he's wearing, like, okay, no, Yoshi has, the neck like, brace for a collar.
Yoshi has like one of the like soft ones. No,
I mean on stage. On stage, he wears like a legit collar, and it's like made so it's like his neck brace. I'm so serious. Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So then Mary just like they sort of like ditched makeup for a bit, and they did a lot of
Dern Gray.
Yeah, they did like a Dern Gray.
In that one aspect alone.
Yeah, but their music, like, they started trying to balance, like, happy stuff, and then it seemed like they almost were going to go J-Rock. And actually, when I was living in Japan, I, like, saw them at, like, a triple header concert, and it was, like, two bands that were, like, definitely J-Rock, and then it was Mary. And I think like everybody there was weirded out, like, why are they here? People knew who they were, and then it was weird too because we're like, living in the middle of rice paddies, and so all the Visual K fans came out of the woodwork, and they're there. So that was just a weird experience in and of itself. But it's like it's interesting when you contrast like Mary when they did something like the one song Rain, where they have that like really stylized imagery going. They're all wearing the suits and everything. Just something like what they're doing now, where it's kind of a stripped down sound, and it's definitely not like the hard rock of like the Owl stuff.
Okay, for context on what you were talking about at the concert, because our translator Sen/John basically was like telling me how Visual K is viewed like the emo scene in Japan, which makes a lot of sense. Because like I tried to go to Japan through the Japanese government, and then they looked at VKH and they were like, "This is so Visual K, I don't know." And I was like, "What do you mean?" But we were too VK for me to go to Japan through the Japanese government. But for context, imagine you got like what's a good band? What's a really good just straight J-rock band? Imagine you got One OK Rock, right? Imagine it's One OK Rock, and like what's another one? Like Otto. Imagine it's literally One OK Rock and Otto, and that which makes sense to me. That makes sense in terms of Japan, because that would just be two pop bands to Japan. And then you got the Gazette, like they just come out of nowhere, and then you just get like the Gazette fans just rising from the ashes. I feel like that's what happened, right? Am I right? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
We were waiting for you to respond there, James.
We're turning gray, literally turning gray without makeup. Like, just comes in, but I don't know.
I don't know. I just like whatever Mary's doing, they're doing it, and
sour. Just needs a 5-hour energy.
No, I'm just like I'm sour. Like I like the Owl song was so cool, and they're like on a cliff, and they're doing cool Mary stuff. And now what are they doing? They're writing songs about markets that have like really like repetition laden guitar riffs, and
it really does remind me of like that alternative rock J-rock sound, like kind of Radwimps-esque, like
Yeah.
Like,
Let's be real. Radwimps has gotten so full of themselves, though. Like,
oh yeah.
well, I just feel like Radwimps just like does anything now, and they slap their name on it. It's like a fashion brand now.
Yeah, I guess like that. Your name song is like very non-Radwimps. The way that I think of like their older
Well, I
stuff.
think of like Radwimps. I think like math rock sort of derived stuff. And, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary sounds merry.
Yeah, they sound merry now, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because they were like a really solid, like, I would say Mary had quite an emo sound back in the day, you know, like,
They did.
which is different from like, oh, Dark Visual K, like, you know, there's Duran Gray, or there's, you know, this or that.
Why are there dudes in? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the full version of the Happy Life PV, and why?
Oh, that one's
why
interesting.
are there guys in giraffe suits?
I mean, this is a valid question, though.
I love how the vocalist emotionally crushes a tomato in his hand at the beginning. Like, that made me feel.
I know.
Are they throwing apples or water balloons at each other?
I think they're tomatoes.
Tomatoes, okay.
Yeah,
And
I'm
this
pretty
guy's
sure
already got a broken neck. That's cool. Okay, just put him in danger.
Hey, if he wants to have tomatoes thrown at him, you know,
By giraffe men.
well, it's his life.
Oh, and by the way, towards the middle or end, towards the middle, the giraffe men.
They have masks. They have like Black Death masks on.
There's a J-pop idol group in here somewhere. Yeah, so the giraffe people, they unzip their costumes and they're this J-pop idol group.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
And they take off their Black Death masks that don't match Big Staff at all, but okay. So tomatoes are hitting his perfectly white shirt and staining it. That's cool.
You see, Happy Life isn't even the video I was like the most like, wow, like, what is this? Like, about, there's like a different one that is really.
Is it the one where they're all hanging out in a square and dancing and he's got an ice cream cone?
No, I was thinking of this one.
Oh, Nonsense Market?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Mary is not Mary. This isn't Mary, you're lying to me. I'm not looking at Mary.
Which one are you talking about being lies?
All of them.
Oh, yeah.
These are Mary.
It's very true.
I think.
No smart. Did you notice that the Nonsense Market is like they capitalize the letters to say no smart?
Yeah,
Look
I
at
did.
that.
Yeah,
That's
they're not
deep, yo.
They're no smart for this. No, I'm kidding.
See, I don't mind this sound, though. And if I remember correctly, they were kind of struggling with their heavy sound, weren't they?
Mm-hmm, they were.
No, I thought the owl one was like really good.
Well, like that Zero song where he's wearing the bandana. You used to make fun of that all the time.
I made so many jokes
What is
about
this chick?
like, the bandana and stuff. Yeah.
What?
Wait, what?
Winona's live reacting to the spy chick in the Nonsense Market PV. There's like a robot chicken that's controlled by phone and it's got a camera in it, and
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
also
now.
they're wearing like
It's all green screen and like the chicken's just getting bigger into the camera.
Yeah.
how do I correctly describe the costumes that they're wearing in the desert? What is that?
Ninjas. Ninja costumes.
Okay, we'll call it ninja costumes. Ninja costumes as they're holding AK-47s, standing on a desert. Something's a little sketchy here. That's all I'm saying. Something's off.
They just want to be spies. Trying to be inconspicuous.
They're
but
desert spies, is what it is.
They tried to do the James Bond, but they ended up in the wrong place.
I guess.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a trip.
This is.
I think we covered this topic to
I feel like
satisfaction. person.
James, you were mentioning how the bassist just keeps wearing that neck brace. I don't know if he has to wear that forever or if he's just like trying to make a statement or like.
I'm pretty sure he would take. I mean, I granted it is visual okay, but no, I think he might still.
I don't know, man. The way Mary's going, who knows? Who knows? Oh man.
Oh
okay.
boy. All right. And with that ramble fest, we have reached the conclusion of episode 2, guys. We did it. Yay!
We're so scared.
I feel it's like the really bad conclusion to like a battle arc anime. Like somebody won, but this didn't turn out how you wanted it to.
It feels like this is the end of Old Noah Zero all over again.
Yeah. Does it?
Yeah, you've seen it, right, James? You've seen it.
Are you guys done?
Oh yeah. Doesn't everybody just like randomly get shot and then more people get?
Are you guys done being a couple of Debbie Downers?
No,
we're being a couple of otaku right now and talking
I'm
about
talking
anime.
about it in a positive way. It's like that one Chinese film
I know.
where like at the end, like they do the huge drug bust and then the elevator goes down and then in the span of like 1 second, like all 3 main characters just like kill each other and then it's like what? But
no, it's like Moonchild, man, where everyone dies except the daughter and she just walks away.
Moonchild, is that the one with the caddy?
Jackson Hyde.
Oh.
With Jackson Hyde and their vampires.
So episode 2 is our Moonchild? Is that what we're saying?
This is our moon.
I have no moon children, but you know it can be Winona's.
What about actual moon children?
Yeah, it'll be.
It's about orphans.
Okay, great. So on that note, please make sure you check out the podcast with the rest of the episodes on SoundCloud. It's soundcloud.com/VKH Breakdown.
I hope you still follow us after this.
Yeah. God damn it, guys. Come on.
People should follow.
Real 24/7.
Send us questions that I promise we'll answer like in a non-rambly way to vkhbreakdown@gmail.com. We should send a PO box for if someone wants to send us like Monster Energy drinks and stuff, so we can like stay up later.
Oh
like,
yeah,
do more of this.
Because we do these recordings, guys. We just so you guys know, we do these recordings like at nighttime because this is the only time everyone's home at once.
No,
for
people should send us like recipes that mix caffeine and alcohol, and then we should all make them together.
Well, I can't have alcohol.
That would be a fun.
Yeah, don't do that.
You could just do caffeine and more caffeine.
Can't have caffeine or
We'll do it as a live stream. James and I will be like buzzing, and then Winona will be like hopping up and down in her seat. Okay. All right. Make sure you check out vkh-press.com where we have all kinds of awesome news and reviews and interviews and almost everything you could possibly want for J-Rock and Visual K. You can follow James. What's your Twitter handle for people who want to follow you?
Isn't it like James O'Brien VKH? Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Okay. Winona.
I am the real Winona on Twitter.
And
there is no real.
No, Winona Ryder isn't the real Winona. I'm the real Winona.
That was like a really great, like early, like indie song by Art School back in the day. Winona Ryder Android. I don't think they play that live.
There's a lot of songs called Winona. There's also a designer called Winona. But Jeff, what is your Twitter handle?
Good Lord, we should just title this ADD the episode. So my Twitter handle, Identity Crisis, has been resolved. I am at the only real Jeff. So please follow me there. And so with that, thank you guys very much for being here and stumbling through and making it to the very end. Special thanks to Pentagon Japan for providing our intro and outro music. Our outro song is going to be the title track from Wanderlust. So Wanderlust. So on that note, thank you, James. Thank you, Winona. Thank you, listeners. And we'll see you next time.
You won't see them, Jeff.
We'll hear you next. Well, we won't hear from you, but all right. Bye.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
TTYL.
So we're gonna, for our outro song, we're going to be playing Pentagon Japan's I'm sorry, I'm tired. I lost my train of thought.
Wanderlust.
Okay, this part's getting cut out. Okay, 1, 2, 3.